All right. Now, as I was saying, Egypt. Okay. Some people might say that we're focused on Egypt. Okay. There's nothing wrong with being focused on Egypt because Egypt was actually the first nation to ever rise. Okay. Now, we shouldn't focus on Egypt to the point where we should want to exert ourselves back to Egypt. We should want to help the whole land of Africa. Okay. Now, we're going to focus on Egypt because everything that these people are exposing and these people are actually telling you comes from the origination of Egypt. Okay. I'm going to start with the Philistines. The Philistines were the first war that we had. The Philistines was the first war that we ever had. When the Philistines went to war with us, okay? When the Philistines went to war with us, they infiltrated our tombs, infiltrated our pyramids, infiltrated our articles, infiltrated our scrolls, and took the knowledge that we had. They took that knowledge that we had and that we knew, and they used it for their own perversions. Okay? So the knowledge that you see of the exposement of what these conspiracy theorists are actually doing and actually exposing to you is really the foundation of it is Egyptian knowledge. And that comes to back up the story of what William Shakespeare, King James, and other poets, writers, and conspiracy theorists also planted inside of the Bible that Egypt was so bad. Okay? And the reason why they are saying this, and the reason why they are saying these things and exposing it, and it is okay, is because they are exposing the Illuminati in order for people to not look at the organizations and institutions. And the ones that built these institutions, all the blame is not actually going on them. The reason why all of the blame is not going on them is because they are using Egyptian symbols. So when it comes down to it, and everybody is sitting there and seeing what these people are actually doing, it comes back to the origination of Egypt. And that gives them the fact to quote in the Bible and the information within the Bible of a prophecy given that Egypt is evil, Egypt is bad, and anything that comes from Egypt is corrupted. They slander the name and throw it down. And these are what these conspiracy theorists are doing. For one, you see a lot of music entertainers do this. Put a hand over their right eye. Okay. That is supposed to stand for the eye of Horus. Or this right here, the eye of Horus. There's nothing evil about that. Because if you look at it, we had pyramids with eyes inside of it. Okay? The pyramid, it represents 3 sides. Okay? If you ever see a pyramid that is together, it is not evil. But the Illuminati conspiracists and also the Illuminati themselves take these symbols and use it. The reason why they take these symbols to do their witchcraft and their satanic spirits is because if you have something good, you have something pure. If you want something to work for evil things, you have to come to the good first. And that's why the Pope kisses the chain and even prays to a medallion and to a statue of the Black Madonna. Because the Pope knows that the knowledge that he knows, which is our knowledge of Africa and our knowledge of Egypt, came from that. And in order to use these symbols in satanic and demonic rituals, he has to take something as a foundation of good and pray upon that, because it is pure. If it was an evil symbol, it would never work. If it was an evil foundation, it would never work, because evil on top of evil does not work. Something has to be purified within that. Okay? You see the pyramid. Now, the pyramid, the top is always the mind. This side is the body. And this side is the soul. Okay? Sometimes it might have an eye in it. The eye of Ra. The eye of Ra means the masculinity and the divinity of the mind. That's what it represents. And the eye inside of the pyramid, which represents the Egyptian Trinity, which is the mind, the body, and the soul. So it's a mind within other minds. Okay? Now, Almighty Isis, which was the mother of Moses and Horus, okay? She named the pyramid the Egyptian Trinity because it represents the mind, the body, and the soul. Okay? All of those connected, a full pyramid that is connected is righteous and is purity. Now, the symbol you should look out for that is evil, and the divinity and the foundation of it is evil and speaks of evil, is the one that's on the dollar bill. The pyramid that's on the dollar bill, as I just explained to you, the mind is at the top. But the mind is pulled away from the rest of the pyramid. These two on this side of the pyramid is the mind, is the body and the soul. Now, if you detach the mind from the body and the soul, they are no longer connected. If they are no longer connected, then they are no longer connected as a whole. If they are not connected as a whole, they are useless. And they are one of the ones that have the mark of the beast in their foreheads, because they are useless. Because the mind is decapitated from the body. That's like if you see in many movies. For one instance, I know a lot of people know about Highlander. The only way that Highlander could die is if you cut off his neck. That was symbolic. That is not the only way that you could die. You can die in numerous ways. But for immortals, you have to cut off the head. Cutting off the head is symbolic. It's cutting off the mind. If you cut the mind from the body and the soul, you have nothing. That person is worthless. It's useless. And when you look on the dollar bill of the pyramid, you have the mind and the body. But you have the mind detached from the body and the soul, and you have an eye in it. A lot of people say it's the eye of George Washington. But that symbol was there with the eye inside of the mind pyramid on top of the Illuminati Regime pyramid before the date of George Washington's birth. Okay? So that eye is not of George Washington. It is of Mona Lisa, which was painted by Leonardo da Vinci. Leonardo da Vinci, which was a faggot and a homosexual, painted the Mona Lisa half woman and half man, which was a symbolization of the square and the compass, which is a ruler and a compass, which represents the female as the ruler, okay, and which represents the compass, okay. The ruler represents the woman because the ruler represents the physical self, because she was the first woman on earth, okay, and she gave birth to the man, which is the first spirit on earth, okay, which draws the spectrum of the compass as a circle, okay, and what that represents, and which they kept that hidden, okay, about the whole thing about the Adam and Eve, and told you that the man was the first person on earth. They hid that, and that's the reason why they made the Mona Lisa, which represented the compass and the square, okay. What a lot of people don't